Welcome to our webinar, Campus Safety at Texas Tech. We are excited to have you joining us here today. My name is Christine Self with Parent and Family Relations, and joining me are Dr. Kimberly Simone from Title IX, Claire Navarez from Clery Compliance, and Sergeant Clint Jaxis from the Texas Tech Police Department. This webinar is part of our Red Raider Family webinar series, where we share information on topics of interest to parents, families, and supporters of our students. We hope this webinar will help you understand some great resources at Texas Tech that focus on keeping our campus safe, on official crime reporting, and support for students. We plan to keep the webinar to about 30 minutes or so. We hope to have time for questions at the end of the session, so please feel free to use the Zoom Q&A feature to ask questions throughout the presentation, and we will get to those. We will also share contact information at the end so that you can follow up as needed. We are recording this session and posting it to our website so that you'll be able to review it again later or share it with others. I will also email the recording link to the email that you used when you registered for the webinar. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Simone.
Hi, families. Thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes to join us today. We really just want to give you a chance to see some of the faces that are part of our extensive campus safety team at the university. As you'll hopefully know by the end of this webinar, there are several offices across campus that work together very closely to keep our community safe, to ensure that students know where to go for help. And so we really appreciate you taking a few minutes just to familiarize yourself with some of our offices and encourage you to stop by when you're here on campus, when you're visiting for orientation or family weekend. And we'd love to see you in person and answer any questions you have. So I'm going to walk you through Title IX pretty quickly. There's a lot of good information on our slides. There's a lot of good information on our website as well. So that's a term you may hear a lot. We want you to have some familiarity with it. But the text of Title IX is up here on the slide. And basically, Title IX is just a federal law that says our students, faculty, staff, campus visitors, family members that come, anyone that's on our campus should be able to participate in our programs, attend events, enroll in classes, and just experience our campus community without being subjected to discrimination or harassment based on their sex or gender. It looks differently, right, depending on what area of the university you're in. So there are Title IX rules for athletics, for admissions, for scholarships, but we're talking today really about campus safety. And so when we focus on Title IX for campus safety, our office really looks at how to prevent and respond to sexual misconduct, relationship violence, stalking, those types of matters. So what does the Title IX office do? Here's a really quick summary for you on this slide. I will tell you the single most important thing we do is that first box, providing supportive measures. So any student that works with our office, they get to decide how they would like us to respond, how much information they'd like to give us, what they might like to do moving forward. But regardless of how they want to interact, whether or not they want to do an investigation in a process, our obligation as the university is to make sure the student has any support they need so that they can be safe and welcome on campus. And so typically supportive measures for our office, the most commonly requested one is working with academic support. So if a student has missed class or has missed assignments, we also connect students with counseling options. We help get them connected to our local police department should they like to make a report to law enforcement. But really, we work with each student individually. A case manager is assigned to them to sit with that specific student and determine how is it that Texas Tech can work with that student to help them feel safe and welcome on our campus. Should students choose to move forward, we also do boxes 2 and 3. So we can investigate any type of report of sexual misconduct, relationship violence, and then we can handle that, we can adjudicate that, we can resolve it in whatever method that student feels most comfortable with. They can change their mind at any time. We always encourage them to have a supportive person, an advisor, a friend, can be an attorney, can be a family member, really whoever they want. They can help them just absorb all of this information, absorb all the options, and then decide what's right for them. So what kind of conduct do we talk about when we say things that are reportable or things that our office handles? We've included them here for you. Most of these are terms you're probably familiar with. So I just want to point out a couple of things. In our policy, something like sexual assault, even if it's an attempt, That still violates our policy. Dating and domestic violence does not have to be physical to fall under our policy. Stalking can be in-person stalking, physical stalking. It can also be online stalking. So really anything that the student may be experiencing, we want to help address. This conduct, you can find more information in our OPs for the university, but the student code of conduct is really where I would point you. It tells you exactly what our university definitions are, how a student could go about reporting that misconduct, and what their options are. I do also want to let you know there is a state law in Texas. Any university staff member is a mandated reporter. So if your student wants to talk to someone, but maybe they're a little nervous about coming to talk to the Title IX office, they can talk with any trusted staff member at the university, a professor, their community advisor in housing, someone that they feel comfortable talking to, and that person can help them get connected to our office to talk about options, procedures, and where we can go from there. Also under Title IX, you'll hear a lot more about this moving forward, pregnant and parenting students. This is you can click, there we go. This is a big change in state and federal policy. So students are protected under Title IX if they are pregnant, experiencing childbirth, adopting a child, if they have lost a pregnancy, right? These things are protected as well in terms of if you have to miss class, if you need accommodations to be successful. So we want students, faculty, staff, parents to know that these resources exist for students, because again, our role is to make sure that your student can be successful on campus and navigate all of those other life events and have them not impact their academics. Okay, so I mentioned to you that all of our staff members are mandated reports. So I want to walk you through just really quickly what happens when we receive a report. So our obligation as the university, we have to respond to every report that comes in. That's our role. The student then decides what they would like to do next. So we might get a report from someone in housing, from a faculty member, from a coach, from somebody that works in academic advising, really wherever it is on campus. They report to our office and someone from our case management team will reach out to your student. We send them an email asking them to meet with them, to talk about options, to talk about ways we can support them. Students don't have to respond to our office. It is entirely their decision if they'd like to meet with us, if they'd like to meet with us over Zoom, if they'd like to wait maybe a little while and see if they need to meet with us. But that decision lies solely with the student. So faculty and staff have to report, we have to respond, students decide what we do next. So a student can decide, you see it on here in bold, if they would like to file a formal complaint. And all that means is the student says, yes, I would like the university to move forward with an investigation, to look into this matter, and to resolve it in some way. We can do that through an informal process that looks a little bit like mediation, or we can do something that's a full disciplinary hearing investigation. It is 100% up to that student. I will tell you, sometimes students change their mind. It's a long process. It can be very stressful. And so again, our role is to really support the student in whatever is most comfortable to them, make sure they know their options, and then do what works best for them. So if you are wondering how you can report, we put some options up here on this slide. We also give all of this information to our incoming students. They get this information in their orientation modules. If your student is taking a class like Radar Ready, they will get this information again. Many of our faculty and staff members put this on their syllabus as well, because we want your student to be able to reach out should they need any help. So they can report in person, they can give us a call, they can stop by our office. We also have an online reporting form that's really easy to use, and it's probably our most used method. I'll show you how to access that in a second. Say your student isn't quite ready to talk to our office, that's okay. That's not the right choice for everybody. We want them to have someone they can talk to. So there are also several confidential places on campus they can report to, such as our student counseling center, the family therapy clinic, the psychology clinic, or they can seek assistance at our student health services. We do also work with the Texas Tech Police Department and the Lubbock Police Department, depending on where incidents have taken place. So say your student feels like they might like to report criminally, but they're not sure how to do that, or maybe they're a little nervous, maybe they've never worked with the police department before, they can always come to our office and we can assist them in getting connected with our police department. We have someone right in our building. They are fantastic about coming up to our office to meet with a student, to make that first point of contact, because we really want to make it as easy on the student as possible. So again, students can report to any staff member at any time. They don't have to go through one of these channels. We want to make it as easy as possible for your student to get connected with our office. Okay, if I can leave you with one quick thing, I would encourage all of you to scan this QR code. What it will do is it will save a contact in your phone that has all of this information and more. How to get in touch with the Title IX office, how to file a report online. It has information for contacting the Student Counseling Center, our crisis hotline, our campus police department, the Dean of Students office, the prevention office. It's a great resource. It's easy to share with your student as well. In case they have a friend that comes to them at 2 in the morning and says, something has happened, I don't know what to do. Your student can pull this information up right on their phone, get them connected immediately. It's an easy resource, has a lot of information. We update it pretty regularly. So I would encourage you to scan that, save it, share it with your student as well. The other thing I would really encourage is have some of these conversations with your student as you're preparing for move-in, as you're getting ready to come to campus. Make sure they know the people on campus that they can call, make sure they know who they can talk to, make sure they know that there is a team here that wants to make sure they don't feel alone, that wants to assist them. Having these conversations early gives your student an easier way to come back to you should something happen. Students that come to our office and say, I've talked to my family about this, or I knew I could call my parents, because you can really help with starting those discussions, really normalize the idea of campus safety, normalize the idea of reaching out for help. And please do not hesitate to call us if you have any questions or concerns. We're here to help.
Hello, my name is Claire Navarez, and I am the Clery Compliance Officer at Tech. We really combine Clery and Title IX a lot because Title IX is there to help people who are going through different situations, and Clery is more about how we get the campus community to understand what's going on. The Clery Act came about when Jean Clery was murdered in 1986. She was beaten, raped, and murdered in her residence hall room, and her parents felt that the university did not share the information that was needed for her to make a smart, informed decision about how to protect herself in her residence hall room. There had been some issues going on with unlocked residence hall doors, and the university did not put that information out, and her room, she left her door open, and then the person who came in and beat her, raped her, and murdered her. So her parents felt that there needed to be some more transparency between the university, what's going on in the university, what's going on campus, around campus, just different information that needed to be passed on to be able to make smart decisions, informed decisions to protect everybody on campus. So that led to the passage of the Clery Act, which is why I am here right now. And the whole premise of it is providing information that's timely and accurate to the campus community. We are not going to send something out about an incident that happened a month ago. It'll be within a 2-week time period at the absolute latest. Normally it's within 24 hours. But the whole goal, again, is to be able to make informed decisions to keep yourself safe. You know, we want to make sure that people feel as though they can go about their business and they can learn and follow their educational pathway and hang out with friends while in a safe environment. So Clery is a little interesting in that it doesn't matter who the victim is. Anything that happens on a campus community, on a campus sponsored trip, on some property around campus, we are going to know about, and we will try to figure out what we need to do with that information. So if there's a visitor who comes on campus and something happens to them, we will try to figure out what information we can pass out to the campus community so that they are aware of the situation that's going on. This is also part of why we are partnered a lot with Title IX. A lot of the Title IX crimes are also Clery crimes. So Kim may Kim already spoke about some of these, but A lot of these are just some different things that the Clery Act feels that it's important for a campus community to know about if there's a string of patterns, if there's an ongoing issue, that people need to be aware of things that are going on that may be one of these crimes. We keep our crime logs up to date. So if you Google Texas Tech Clery, Title IX, PD, there will be a link to get you to all of our crime logs. The police department updates all of theirs. Now, not all of the Clery crimes may have the police department involved. So that is why there is a tab, the yellow one, that says CSA crime log, that is updated with specific Clery crimes. So they are listed within 2 business days of me getting them. And they are going to cover any of those crimes that were listed on the previous slide. So if there's an alcohol violation in the residence hall, it'll be on here. Just any of those crimes we will update. It has information for the past 60 days. If you want more than that, you can contact the police department, but you'll be able to see every crime that's been reported that's a Clery crime on this site. Every fall, we also publish an annual security report that we also have to submit to the Department of Education. In it, at the back, there are the statistics for the last 3 years, so you can see if there's some sort of trend in one of the crimes. It's broken down by student housing, so residence hall, if it's on campus, if it was on a trip, just so you can understand and see more of a holistic view of where the crimes are and what's taking place. Excuse me, we also do a fire safety report of all the fire issues that take place. A lot of them are not going to be, oh, the sprinkler went off because someone burnt their toast. It's going to be stuff more centered towards the arson part of it. But you'll be able to see all that there. It's about 125 pages, but in my opinion, the most important part is about the 120 pages before the charts. Because those are the pages that you really want to have on hand. This is a great resource of all the offices on campus that your student may need, all the resources for where they can go, who they can call, programs that are for preventing stuff from happening, safety programs, educational programs. It just has a wealth of information that's extremely valuable, all in one place. So yes, it's 125 pages, but it's 125 pages of very good information combined in one location. If we determine that there is an ongoing threat to the campus community based on one of the Clery crimes, we will discuss sending out a timely warning notification. It will go out to the entire campus community. And again, it has to be a continuing or serious ongoing threat. So for example, different crimes may warrant one when some others may not. If there's a dating violence issue between 2 people who are dating, that may not necessarily warrant a timely warning notification because that's a crime between 2 people who have an ongoing relationship. But say we notice a pattern of something happening to people who are walking on 18th Street at night alone. We will then send something out saying, hey, if you're walking on 18th Street alone at night, here are some things you can think about. Here are some ways you can protect yourself. Here are some contacts if you need someone to help you out, if you need PD to escort you. And you know, we don't want to send these out as a way of scaring people. We just want them to have the resources available to them to protect themselves if they find themselves in that situation. The hard thing about a timely warning notification is sometimes it may seem like you're getting a lot of them, and we don't want people to feel like they're unsafe on campus. What we like to compare this to is a city, right? There are about 40,000 people on this campus at any given time, and that's the size of a city. So we do send out information to make sure people can protect themselves, but most cities don't do that. So any city you go to, there's going to be some sort of crime happening probably at any given moment, but they're not necessarily telling everyone. We want to be transparent because we want to protect everybody who's here. We want to protect your students. We want to protect the faculty and staff. So we want to make sure that everybody has an educated background of what's happening and how they can protect themselves. So while it may seem like a lot, we promise it's not a lot going on. It's just we want to make sure you know about it. And here's my information if you need anything, and I will pass it off to Sergeant Justice.
Thank you, ma'am. Sergeant Jackson is here with Texas Tech Police Department. We can go ahead and go to the next slide. History of our department, we were established in 1958. We have well over 57 commissioned officers. That's male and female alike. So I have 3 daughters. I always tell the ladies out there, if you have a problem, you feel more comfortable talking to a female, that's an option available to you. You can always be requested. However, all of our officers are highly trained and going to be very professional in any given circumstance or your time of need. So we enforce all Texas state criminal laws, local, federal, anything a police department would do in a big city, we do as well. Like Claire said, we are a large city. When the campus is blowing and going, like I like to say, you know, during normal business hours, so to speak, we could see as many as 80 to 100,000 people on campus, faculty, staff, students, people passing through. So it is a large city and we do our best to keep it under control. We have police jurisdiction anywhere in the state where Texas Tech owns, controls, or leases property. For all rights and purposes, we're state police. We do have jurisdiction all over the state. We have our own call center, dispatch 911. So if you call 911, it's going to ring to us. Now, given close proximity to Lubbock Police Department and other factors beyond my control, with cell phone towers, you might get Lubbock Police Department say, you're at the library, it's late, you're having an emergency, Lubbock Police Department, just let them know I'm on Texas Tech campus at the library. They're going to hit a button. They're going to get you over to us in a matter of seconds. It's nothing to fret about. And our chief here is Kyle Boneth. He was with the FBI for, I believe, 24 years. So he has an extensive background, as do many of our officers. I came from another city. We have an eclectic group of men and women here to serve your needs and keep you safe. Divisions of the department, we have an admin division, patrol, CID, which is criminal investigations, emergency communications, which is our 911 center, crime prevention, which is primarily my job duties, honor guard, guards, which you'll see in blue shirts walking around the campus. They're the eyes and ears of our department. So you can stop and ask any of them questions. If it's something beyond what they know or their knowledge, they'll call for an officer and they'll get you some help. They all have radios. They're not armed guards, but they do have radios and can take care of problems. We also have a bicycle patrol. I do a lot of the instruction for that. I'm one of the lead bicycle officers. So we do have bicycle patrol on campus. We find it's more approachable by our student body, because it's something they can relate to. We're on a bike, they ride bikes. It's something we can talk about. We're not out here to cause trouble. You know, that's why people see the police and, oh, they're going to get me. They're going to write me a ticket. We do write tickets. We do also take people to jail, but that's not our primary function. It's the safety of this campus. And we want you to have a good experience here at the university. Our mission statement here is to provide a safe and secure environment to live, learn, and educate. That's it in a nutshell. Also, something I'd like to cover is we do have a concealed carry here on campus. Nothing to be alarmed about. It's been in effect since 2016. I've never had any problems with it myself, or that I'm aware of. Maybe 3 different instances. What I tell people, I had a couple officers from another city in Texas, one from NYPD. They all had their badges either in their pocket, or NYPD had a necklace badge that's not visible. So if somebody's carrying a weapon out where it's visible, they have to have a badge next to it indicating they're law enforcement. If not, you feel free to call that in and we'll go talk to them. But that weapon has to be concealed. They have to have a license to carry, be 21 years of age, and be able to legally own and possess that weapon. There are blue phones on campus. There's about 130 of them scattered all throughout campus and inside some of the buildings. They're about 50 yards apart. So if for some reason you need to push one and go to the next one, about 50 yards, you'll find another one. It's a tower with a blue light on top, and it'll get you help. It's just like a 911 call. And there you go. Contact information for our department to wrap this up. Mine's going to be short and sweet. There's not really a lot to say. Non-emergency number is there, 742-3931, 806 area code. Keep that in mind if you're from out of town. Emergency, of course, is 911, and our tech operates 24/7, 365. So we're always here, holidays, weekends, and whatnot. And our line there for emails, police@ttu.edu. Feel free to contact any of our officers. We have a police officer in the substation. I believe Ms. Simone had mentioned that. So feel free to contact him with any of your questions and he can get you help. There's officers around campus all the time. We're very approachable. So feel free to flag one of us down or contact our department with any questions. Stay safe. Welcome to Tech Guns Up.
All right, well, I want to thank our three presenters, and we do have just a few minutes. If you would like to type a question in the Q&A feature of Zoom, we will answer a couple of those live. And then when it's time for us to stop, we will shut down our recording and shut down our cameras, but we'll stay online to keep answering some of your questions for a little bit. So one of the questions that I'm already seeing in our Q&A is, are students at Texas Tech allowed to carry pepper spray?
Yeah, I'll take that one. Yes, they can. Just be mindful not to wave it around and, shoot each other with it, but for your safety, my daughters, I'm on my third one going to college. I bought each of them pepper spray. It's just whatever you feel safe with, just make sure you have it, in a safe location. Check with your dorms. I've talked to housing. I believe they allow that in housing. Again, just don't run around waving it around, that kind of thing. Keep it, with you.
One other question, and this is for you, Sergeant Jaxis. We get a lot of questions in our office about bicycle theft.
Sure.
Can you tell us what some good tips are for students to protect their personal property, including bicycles?
Yeah, well, that's a big ticket item here on campus. We have measures in place. We try to deter that, but I highly recommend getting a U-bolt style lock. It's a heavy, big U-bolt lock. There's many different, brands out there available to you. They're about $35. But I would go a step further and also get a cable lock. Put the U-bolt on the bike itself, the main body, the frame of the bike, and the bike rack, and then maybe put the cable through the front tire and the frame of the bike. That's just going to be a big deterrent for a criminal that's coming up. They're going to see a bicycle with 2 locks on it. And I mean, to be honest, they're going to go to an easier target. That's why I urge everybody to use 2 locks. So like I said, we have measures in place. We've caught a lot of bike thieves, but we put them in jail. They come right back out. And so we stay on top of it the best we can.
Another question that we have, and this may be more for Claire or Dr. Simone, when we're talking about the phrase campus community, is that limited to students who live on campus? What does campus community mean when it comes to reporting and supportive measures and different things?
Yeah, I'll take that one. So campus community is a really broad term. So that will be students, faculty, staff, and anyone who's a visitor to our campus at the time. So sometimes, say a person that's committing bike theft, for example, is a campus visitor, Sergeant Jaxis can help with moving forward on a criminal case, right, with somebody who's a non-student and non-employee. Our office, though, we would only be able to help the victim of a crime. So Claire would report it through Clery. We could offer supportive measures, but through like a student or employee disciplinary process, we wouldn't be able to address a non-student, non-employee offender. We do still take all of those reports. We assist people with reporting things where they might need to be. So say one of our students encounters a problem while they're at an away game or visiting another area for spring break. If they're part of our campus community and they come and let us know something that's happened to them there, even if we can't address it here, again, we'll provide those supportive measures regardless, and then assist them in reporting in whatever jurisdiction that is. So if you're affiliated with the university, campus, faculty, staff, student, visitor, these all apply to you. You are part of our community.
And that's the same with a timely warning notification as well. Anyone who may be on campus will get that notification. Now, if someone's a remote student in San Antonio and they never step foot on campus, they may not get it. It may be weeded out from them. But if you are someone who will be on campus at some point in time, you would get that alert too.
All right, one other question that we have here, should we be concerned for students needing to walk or drive their bike around Texas Tech campus at night if they need to stay in the library till 9 to 10 p.m.? One of the resources that I'm aware of that students can use is called Raider Ride, and they use the Tap Ride app, and they can get a free ride between any 2 points on campus, including that library. So I would definitely encourage your student to use that service. And others may jump in with some other recommendations as well.
Yeah, I think, sorry, Jack, go ahead.
Go ahead, man. Okay, there's officers here all the time. They're always patrolling. If you're ever in the library or anywhere on campus, you're scared, you come out, maybe there's a couple of people out there that just make you feel unsafe. You can always call for an officer, come stand by. as you get into your vehicle. Now, if you're on a bicycle, it's going to be a different dynamic. They might could kind of stay behind you to go to your dorm. It's going to be a case by case thing, given our call volume, because we are a functioning police department and we do have a lot of people here. So we do have other things that we're involved with. So we may say we'll be over there, but it might be 15, 20 minutes. I mean, something like that, just to prepare you for what may come. Kimberly, was you going to say something?
Yeah, I would just say talk to your student about situational awareness and just general safety.
Exactly.
Claire mentioned this earlier, but we are a not very small town, actually, right? People think about campus, but we have 40,000 students. That's bigger than where a lot of us grew up, maybe. It's 4 times the size of the town I grew up in. So it's a small functioning city. So I would say our campus is exceptionally safe, right? We are, of course, not a zero crime campus. Nowhere is. Sometimes I think students get a little nervous being here because you know more about what's happening on campus than in the town you live in, the city you live in. So we over communicate about things going on. So sometimes it makes it seem like there's a lot of activity on campus, and really it's just that you know about it. So students that are practicing good safety, things like not being on headphones while they're walking, being alert of surroundings. I will tell you, outside of things like bike theft, most of the incidents that are reported to our office, these are not strangers following students around campus. They are acquaintances. They are people that you have invited into your space, trusted friends. And that's pretty consistent with other types of crime across the country. So just remind students about how to practice good safety, how to be aware of where you are, how to utilize your resources. And then, yes, like Dr. Self said, if you're ever concerned, call TTPD, use the Tap Ride app. There are several resources available to you on campus.
All right, well, thanks everyone. I'm noticing the time and we are out of time. You can still type questions in the Q&A. We are going to stop the recording and stop our videos, but we will stay on to answer the questions that you've put in there. So I want to thank everyone again. There is a QR code on your screen. If you wouldn't mind giving us some feedback, we have just a really quick 2-question survey. We'd love to hear from you on how we did today. And then also all of our contact information is up there for you. If your question didn't get answered or you have additional questions that you think of after you leave our webinar, please don't hesitate to reach out to any of us. So thanks once again. Have a great rest of your day. And we will continue answering your questions in the Q&A feature. Thank you.